into the future, what do you see? I really need to know now, is there a place for me? If we're gonna survive, the dream must stay alive.
Authorities are appealing for calm throughout the evacuation process.
The Tribe, A New World by A.J. Penn. Chapter 7. Ellie looked up. It was huge. The massive bulk of the cargo ship Amber had first noticed cast its shadow over the little boat that had been their home for so long, while Jack carefully did his best to maneuver the trawler, drawing it alongside the giant vessel. "I love you," Ellie cried out to Jack, giving him one more look before she took her turn. If these were the last words she would ever say, they seemed appropriate, giving her comfort as well as courage. Jack dared to look away from the cargo ship for a fleeting second, nodding to Ellie, giving her an encouraging smile. "I'll see you there," he called out from the trawler's wheelhouse. Given a renewed surge of confidence from Jack's assurance, Ellie prepared herself, Jack carefully steering the trawler a few inches closer, the gap between her and the container ship closing. Ellie climbed onto the roof of the wheelhouse, where Darrell was crouched, balancing himself with the motion. He had volunteered to remain to steady everyone, the elevation of the wheelhouse providing a better launch pad to bridge the difference in height between the roof of the trawler and the open deck of the cargo vessel. Ellie took a deep breath, then leapt. The tribe had decided to head towards the cargo ship to see if anyone might be able to help them. Using the last of their fuel, the engines of the little trawler coughing and spluttering as Jack had earlier steered the boat towards the mysterious vessel. Yet, despite calling out for help as the two boats seesawed side by side, it seemed as if the cargo ship was deserted. Nobody had responded to their shouts. Realizing they couldn't stay on the trawler forever, now it was out of food and water supplies, and very likely was to run out of fuel, the tribe quickly resolved that they had to take their chances on the container ship. Hopefully, they would stand more likelihood of survival on it than the trawler. Ellie gripped at the safety railing of the mammoth container vessel. Slade and Lex pulled Ellie up by her arms, hauling her onto the open deck. "Well, look what we've caught here," Lex joked. "Thanks," Ellie smiled appreciatively. So far, most of the tribe had made it. Jay had been the first to make the leap of faith, and had rigged some ropes, bound as an extra safety, for the others to cling to in case they missed the railing. Amber was so relieved that destiny had played an opportune card. She dreaded to think of the tribe trying to cross the gap from the trawler boat to the cargo ship if the waves had been rougher. Thankfully, although the wind was picking up, it hadn't affected the evacuation from the trawler so far. It was hard enough as it was for Jack to maneuver the tiny ship alongside the mammoth vessel. They didn't have any ladders for the transition. It was just their tired and exhausted bodies they had to rely upon to physically traverse the distance between the trawler and the container ship. Boarding at the open deck level, the prospect of leaving the trawler had given them all a renewed sense of hope, a surge of energy. They were nearly all safe, Amber thought, with 2 more to go. "See you on the other side," Darrell shouted to Jack, struggling to keep the 2 vessels close enough, doing his utmost to minimize the distance between them. Jack wondered if Darrell was referring to the afterlife rather than the huge vessel. Darrell jumped, and just made it. Slade and Lex's arms ached as they pulled Dowell up over the safety railing onto the deck. Massive metal containers stacked all around them. One more to go, Amber thought nervously, her stomach churning with tension. So far, it had been a miracle that they had all made it across, Amber felt. The most difficult challenge had involved Brady and baby Bray. Trudy had been hysterical when she had lifted up Brady, pushing her with all her might to the safe arms of the others who had already made it, reaching out towards the child from the deck of the cargo ship. And Amber had felt the intense stress of the moment when she made her own leap, her little son clutching to her. They had coiled a safe rope around each of the youngsters as an extra precaution if they fell. Baby Bray had been also tied to Amber in a makeshift harness made from the tarpaulin that served as Jack's improvised rain collector. They were all safe so far, but now it was Jack's turn. And Ellie couldn't bear to look, comforted by Sammy, who noticed a shadowy shape in the water of what he knew was a shark, and turned Ellie away, hoping she wouldn't catch a glimpse. Inside the little trawler, Jack only had a few moments, aware as he cast his eye towards the back of the trawler, its engines coughing and heaving, that the precious fuel was running out. Jack had volunteered to be the last to go, feeling he was the best helmsman of them all, given his innate technical skills. He just hoped he had made the right choice. But all the tribe had confidence in him. He had always been the tribe's Mr. Fix-It, able to turn his hand to all things mechanical. One last time, Jack thought, idling the engine of the trawler, getting one final spurt of power to help him steer the little boat, inching it closer, closer to the cargo ship, the two vessels almost touching. "Come on, you little boat," Jack urged, getting in tune with the trawler. Mechanical objects, as well as computers, almost had their own personality to Jack, and he exhorted the trawler not to let him down, not now, when they'd been through so much together. Judging the trawler was as close as he could make it without causing a collision, Jack let go of the wheel and climbed onto the roof. From the cargo ship, Ellie jumped up and down it nervously, hardly bearing to watch for signs of her loved one, and the others all watched breathlessly. Now the trawler began to inch away from the cargo ship, with nobody left to steer it, to keep it level. Jack gritted his teeth. He was going to have to give it all he had. He stepped back a few paces, then sprinted, leaping, taking flight across the divide, soaring from the little trawler towards the mammoth cargo vessel. It felt like everything was in slow motion, as if he was flying. He was all too aware of the growing gap that had now opened up, his arms flailing to reach out to the vessel, sensing the distance widening like an invisible force was trying to pull him down into the unforgiving ocean below. Ellie screamed. Jack wasn't going to make it. Jack felt himself descending, sure he'd mistimed his jump. As he desperately reached out, extending his arms, in that split second he knew he'd got it all wrong. It was too late. And then it was over. Jack's arm nearly snapped as he felt the strong grip on him, quickly reversing his momentum. Jack clattered into the side of the ship, pain searing through his body as all his weight concentrated on his shoulder, his feet dangling, gravity trying to pull him into the watery abyss. Slade called out a primal yell of fury, urging himself to hang on as he leaned over the side of the railing, every tendon in his body aching, struggling to grip Jack's arm. Lex and Jay held on to Slade's legs to stop Slade from himself falling over the edge of the vessel. Tears streamed down Ellie's face. She couldn't take the anguish, and the others around her could also hardly bear to watch either. Jack managed to get a foothold into the safety ropes Jay had rigged, propelling him upwards. With a mighty heave, Lex and Jay pulled Slade towards them, Slade continuing to bellow in determination. And there, in Slade's strong arms, Ellie and the others could see that Slade had saved Jack, who was now on the deck, shaking in fear, Ellie racing over to give him a hug. "You always been so good at catch," Jack quipped to Slade, trying to make light of things, though he was visibly shocked by his close escape. "Oh, Jack, thank God you're okay," Ellie said in relief. "Thanks Slade, you mean?" Jack replied, looking at Slade in all sincerity, cradling his arm Slade had been holding, hoping it hadn't been dislocated. "We all owe you, Jack. If it hadn't been for you steering the trawler, none of us would have made it onto here," Slade responded. Jack looked around at the tribe, gazing at him with a mixture of concern, gratitude, and relief. "So, I'm a hero?" Jack smiled in mock self-adoration. "My hero," Ellie beamed through tears, kissing Jack lovingly on the lips. Amber was so grateful they had all made it. Just. But made it to where? What exactly was this ship? She watched the little trawler boat drifting away on the current, taking all the memories of what they had experienced. Now there were many questions that needed to be answered.